Hello, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Welcome back to my All Old Rare Coins channel, where we dive deep into the world of rare coins and their astonishing value. Today, we're unveiling an absolute gem from the United States, the 1-cent coin from 1950. Now, we know what you're probably thinking: a penny? How much could that possibly be worth? Well, prepare to be amazed as we reveal just how much this seemingly humble coin could fetch in today's market. You may be surprised to learn that the United States has issued some pennies over the years that are worth far more than their face value. The 1951-cent coin, in particular, is one of those that can leave collectors and investors alike doing a double take. But why is this particular penny so special? Let's take a step back and explore the history behind it. Back in 1950, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies as part of the regular coinage for circulation. These coins, like all pennies, featured Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse side, a familiar design that was introduced back in 1909. On the reverse side, the coin showed the iconic wheat stalks, making it part of the famous Wheat Penny series. So, what makes the 1950 penny stand out from the rest? Well, it comes down to a few key factors, including the coin's rarity, its condition, and some very particular details that collectors seek out when hunting for valuable pieces. First, let's talk about rarity. While 1950 pennies were minted in large quantities, not all of them made it through the decades unscathed. The majority of these coins were spent in everyday transactions, which means they were subject to wear and tear. Most of them have lost their original luster, becoming heavily worn, scratched, and discolored over time. But, as any seasoned collector will tell you, it's the uncirculated coins, the ones that have been well preserved, that are worth the most. A 1950 penny that's been carefully stored away in a safe place, untouched by the harsh effects of circulation, is far rarer than most others. These pristine specimens are the ones that truly capture the attention of collectors. Now, let's move on to some very specific details that can make a 1950 penny even more valuable. One of the most sought-after variants of the 1950 penny is the 1950s minted in San Francisco. This particular version is considered rarer than other 1950 pennies, and because of its scarcity, it's often worth more. You might be wondering what makes it so unique. Well, the key is the mint mark. The S mint mark, found just below the date on the reverse of the coin, signifies that it was minted in San Francisco. There's another version of the 1950 penny that's also highly prized by collectors, the 1950D mint mark, which was produced in Denver. While not as rare as the 1950s, it still commands a premium price if found in mint or near mint condition. So, how much is a 1950 penny worth today? Well, if you're lucky enough to have one in pristine, uncirculated condition, or better yet, if you happen to have a rare 1950s or 1950D penny with a minting error or unique feature, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Coins in excellent condition or with special features, like those minted in low numbers or with design flaws, can fetch astonishing prices. Collectors around the world are always on the lookout for these rarities, willing to pay top dollar to add them to their collections. The value of a 1951-cent coin can range from just a few dollars for a common, circulated version to thousands of dollars for one in near-perfect condition. However, we're about to blow your mind with the potential value of a truly rare 1950 penny. Are you ready? If you have a 1951-cent coin that's in top-tier, uncirculated condition, and especially if it's one of the rarer versions, like the 1950s in pristine form, you could potentially sell it for an astounding $190,000. Yes, you heard that right, $190,000. That's the incredible price that one lucky collector was able to fetch for a rare, well-preserved 1950 penny. Of course, the condition of the coin, along with its rarity and any potential minting errors, plays a huge role in determining its final price. So, before you toss those old coins in your change jar or toss them aside, take a closer look. You never know, you might just have a rare treasure waiting to be discovered in your collection. If you happen to find one of these elusive 1950 pennies in mint condition, it could be your ticket to a small fortune. Now, we've got an extraordinary coin to talk about, the 1944 1-cent coin. You might think a penny from the 1940s is just another old coin you can find in your pocket change, but trust us, this one's far from ordinary. If you're sitting on a 1944 penny, you could be sitting on a goldmine without even knowing it. Stay tuned to find out why this coin is so valuable and just how much it could be worth today. The 1944 1-cent coin might seem like just another piece of history, but there's much more to it than meets the eye. To understand why this particular penny is so valuable, we need to take a quick trip back to the year it was minted and explore the conditions and circumstances surrounding it. In 1944, the United States was right in the middle of World War II. The country's economy was focused on supporting the war effort, and metal resources were in short supply. Because of the war, the U.S. government needed to conserve copper for ammunition and other wartime supplies. As a result, the 1944 penny was made primarily of steel, with a zinc coating, rather than the usual copper. However, after the war ended, the U.S. Mint returned to using copper to produce pennies. This brings us to the 1944 penny, which was minted in Denver. The reason this penny is so remarkable isn't just because of its historical significance or its role in wartime production. It's also because of a rare mistake that happened during the minting process, a mistake that would leave some collectors eagerly searching for these pennies to this very day. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1944 penny different from most other pennies of its time. The key lies in its composition and rarity. The majority of pennies from 1944 were made with the expected copper, as the war was over by then. However, the 1944 penny, which was produced at the Denver Mint, is one of the rarest and most sought-after pennies in the coin world. So why is this coin so valuable? Well, despite the fact that it was produced in high numbers, only a small fraction of the 1944 pennies were made with the wrong metal composition, copper instead of zinc-coated steel. The vast majority of the 1944 pennies were minted using copper, while a few rare pieces were struck with steel and zinc, making them an absolute treasure for collectors. Finding a 1944 penny made with the incorrect steel composition is like finding a needle in a haystack. These error coins are incredibly rare and have become highly prized among numismatists and coin collectors. If you happen to have one of these rarities, it's worth a significant amount of money, and the value continues to rise as collectors search high and low for these elusive pieces of history. But, as with all rare coins, condition plays a huge role in determining its value. A 1944 penny that's been preserved in pristine condition, without any noticeable wear and tear, is far more valuable than one that's been circulated for decades. The better the condition of the coin, the higher the price it can fetch. A well-preserved 1944 penny, especially one with the rare steel composition, could fetch a small fortune at auction. But now, let's get to the exciting part, the price. If you happen to have a 1944 penny in near-perfect condition, and it's one of those incredibly rare steel-struck varieties, you could be sitting on a potential windfall. Believe it or not, this penny has been known to fetch as much as $330,000 when it's in excellent condition and has the right attributes. That's right, $330,000 for a single penny. Now, we know this might sound unbelievable, but this is the kind of value these rare error coins can command. It all comes down to the rarity of the error, the condition of the coin, and the demand among collectors who are constantly on the lookout for these one-of-a-kind pieces. So, what does this mean for you? If you happen to find a 1944 penny in your collection or in your change jar, take a moment to inspect it closely. Check for that rare steel composition, and if it looks like it might be one of those special coins, you could be looking at a small fortune. And remember, even if you don't have the steel version, a regular 1944 penny in excellent condition could still fetch a nice price. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting into the world of rare coins, the 1944 penny is one that you don't want to overlook. Its historical significance, combined with the rarity of certain minting errors, makes it one of the most coveted coins in the world of numismatics. Next coin, we're talking about a coin that you might not expect to be worth much, but trust us, this one's a true treasure. We're diving into the story of the 1949 1-cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that could be worth far more than its face value. Stick with us as we reveal just how valuable this penny can be and why it's such a sought-after collector's item today. The 1949 1-cent coin might not seem like the kind of penny you'd find in a rare coin collection, but you'd be surprised at what makes it so special. While the design and the year might not stand out immediately, there's a hidden story behind this coin that makes it much more than just a piece of everyday currency. To understand its value, we have to go back in time to the year it was minted. In 1949, the United States was living in the post-World War II era. The country was experiencing a time of recovery and economic growth, and the government was minting coins to keep up with the demands of a growing economy. The design of the 1-cent coin, or penny, had remained largely the same since it was first introduced in 1909 with the image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The reverse of the coin featured the familiar wheat stalks, which gave rise to the famous wheat penny series. So, what makes the 1949 penny so special? Well, it all comes down to a combination of factors: its rarity, its condition, and some very specific details that collectors have become increasingly aware of over time. Although millions of 1949 pennies were produced, very few of them were preserved in excellent condition. Most of these pennies were circulated extensively and became worn down through daily transactions, making them much less valuable. But when you find a 1949 penny in pristine condition, it becomes a rare and highly desirable coin for collectors. However, there's another element to the value of the 1949 penny that really sets it apart from the rest. There were some minor variations in the minting process during that year, and these small differences make certain 1949 pennies more valuable than others. These variations are subtle, but they play a huge role in how much a coin can be worth. One of the key factors that affects the value of the 1949 penny is the presence of a mint mark. The U.S. Mint produces coins in different locations, and the mint mark indicates where the coin was struck. For the 1949 penny, there were three main mint marks: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While the Philadelphia minted coins are the most common, the Denver and San Francisco versions are much rarer. Now, if you happen to have a 1949 penny minted in San Francisco, you've got a much rarer piece of history on your hands. These coins are harder to find in circulation and tend to fetch higher prices among collectors. Even among the 1949 San Francisco pennies, those in pristine condition are incredibly valuable. If you've got one that's been carefully preserved over the years, you could be looking at a substantial payout. But it's not just the mint mark that makes the 1949 penny valuable. As with any rare coin, the condition is paramount. A 1949 penny in excellent or uncirculated condition is worth far more than one that's been worn down through years of circulation. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for coins that show little to no signs of wear, and the 1949 penny is no exception. A well-preserved coin that still retains its original shine and detail can be worth a small fortune. If you're lucky enough to have a 1949 penny that's not only in great condition but also features one of those rarer mint marks or even some slight minting errors, you could be holding on to something truly valuable. These unique characteristics can drastically increase the worth of the coin, making it a sought-after piece among serious collectors and investors. So, how much could a 1949 penny be worth today? Well, it depends on the condition, the mint mark, and whether or not you've got one of those rare minting errors. For a standard 1949 penny in good condition, you might be looking at a few dollars, but the value can go up exponentially for coins in near mint or uncirculated condition. And if you've got one of those rare San Francisco minted pennies or a coin with a unique error, now we're talking about a whole different ball game. In fact, a 1949 penny in exceptional condition, especially one with a rare mint mark or an error, can be worth as much as $140,000 when it's sold to the right collector. That's right, $140,000 for a single penny. This remarkable price reflects the rarity and desirability of the coin, particularly among collectors who are always on the hunt for high-quality, rare specimens. If you happen to have one of these rare 1949 pennies in your collection, now is the time to take a closer look at its condition and see if it might be worth more than you ever imagined. So, what's the takeaway here? Keep your eyes peeled for those pennies that have been hidden away in your change jar or tucked in old coin collections. You might just have a 1949 penny that's worth far more than its face value. And remember, the better the condition and the rarer the mint mark, the higher the potential value. Now, we've got a special one for you, a coin that you might not think twice about, but it holds an extraordinary story and a price tag that could make any collector's heart race. We're talking about the 1945 1-cent coin from the United States. At first glance, it might look like just another penny from the past, but trust us, this particular coin has a lot more to offer than meets the eye. To understand why the 1945 1-cent coin is so special, we need to step back in time and look at the historical context in which it was minted. The year 1945 was a pivotal one in world history. The United States had just come out of World War II, and the country was in a period of transition. Economies were shifting, and the focus was now on recovery and rebuilding. During this time, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to meet the demand of a growing economy and returning to peacetime production. The design of the penny, which had been in circulation since 1909, featured President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, with the famous wheat stalks on the reverse. The Wheat Penny series, which began in 1909, would continue through 1958, making the 1945 penny an important part of this beloved coin series. On its surface, it might seem like just another run-of-the-mill penny, but the truth is, there's much more to this particular year and coin. The 1945 penny, like most other pennies minted during World War II and the years that followed, was struck using a copper composition. However, the 1945 1-cent coin stands out due to its condition, rarity, and some important variations that have made it a must-have for collectors. One of the key factors that contribute to the value of the 1945 penny is its condition. As with any rare coin, a penny that has been carefully stored, kept out of circulation, and preserved over the years will hold a much higher value than one that's been heavily circulated. Most 1945 pennies were used in everyday transactions and suffered from wear and tear. However, if you come across a 1945 penny that looks like it just came out of the mint, you've got something worth paying attention to. But even more important than condition is the rarity of certain versions of the 1945 penny. While the vast majority of 1945 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, there are also some rare minting errors and variations that make certain pennies from that year incredibly valuable. For example, there's a specific variety of the 1945 penny that was minted in higher quality than others, making it stand out among its counterparts. The key to finding these rarities often lies in the mint mark. The mint mark can be found under the date on the reverse side of the coin, and it indicates where the coin was produced. The 1945 penny could have been minted at any of the 3 U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. While the Philadelphia mint mark is typically not visible, the Denver and San Francisco versions are much rarer and thus worth significantly more. But it's not just the mint mark that can drive up the value of a 1945 penny. There are also certain unique characteristics or mistakes that occurred during the minting process, such as misprints, design flaws, or other minting errors. These coins are extremely sought after because of their rarity and the story behind them. Any coin with an unusual feature or imperfection has a much higher potential value, especially when it's something as rare as a minting error from the 1945 penny series. Now, let's get to the good part. Just how much can a 1945 penny be worth? Well, the value of these pennies can vary greatly depending on their condition, rarity, and minting details. Most 1945 pennies in average condition are worth only a few cents above face value, but if you happen to find one in exceptional condition or with a rare mint mark, you could be looking at a much higher price. But hold on to your seats, because here comes the big reveal. if you have a 1945 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially if it's one of the rarer versions with a mint mark or a minting error, you could potentially sell it for an astonishing $242,000. Yes, you heard that right, $242,000 for a single penny. Imagine finding a penny that's worth a fortune, sitting quietly in your collection or your change jar. That's the power of a rare coin. Its value can skyrocket when it has the right combination of rarity, condition, and unique features. Coins like the 1945 penny are not just historical artifacts, they're valuable investments that could bring significant returns. So, what should you do if you think you have a 1945 penny that might be worth a fortune? First, inspect the coin carefully. Look for signs of exceptional condition, check for any visible mint marks, and see if you can spot any minting errors or variations. If you think you've found something special, it might be worth getting it appraised by a professional or even submitting it to a grading service. Remember, the 1945 penny is one of those coins that may not seem valuable at first glance, but in the right condition and with the right features, it can be worth far more than you'd expect. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into the world of rare coins, this penny is one you'll want to keep an eye out for. Last coin, we're talking about a coin that might be sitting right under your nose, one that most people overlook, but one that could be worth an incredible amount of money. We're diving into the world of the 1957 1-cent coin. It might look like just another penny from the past, but trust me, this little coin packs quite a punch when it comes to its value. Stick around to find out why the 1957 penny is worth so much more than its face value and what makes it stand out in the world of collectors. The 1957 1-cent coin, also known as the 1957 wheat penny, is part of the famous wheat penny series, which was minted from 1909 to 1958. It has the classic design that many collectors are familiar with. On the obverse, there's the image of President Abraham Lincoln, and on the reverse, you'll see two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots. This design, created by engraver Victor David Brenner, was beloved by the public, and the wheat penny became an iconic piece of American currency. Now, on the surface, a 1957 penny might seem like just another old coin that you could find in a jar or under your couch cushions. After all, the U.S. Mint produced millions of them. But don't be fooled, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. The key to its value lies in its rarity, the condition it's in, and some specific details that can make certain 1957 pennies worth a whole lot more than a penny. First, let's talk about the context in which the 1957 penny was minted. It was a time of economic growth and prosperity in the United States, following the end of World War II. The country was transitioning into the post-war era, and people were spending money and investing in all sorts of things, including coins. During this time, the U.S. Mint continued to produce large numbers of pennies to meet the demands of the growing economy. However, not all of these pennies were treated equally, and some were kept in much better condition than others. Here's where things get interesting. While the 1957 penny may have been produced in large numbers, the condition of the coin is what really drives its value. Most of the 1957 pennies that were released into circulation over the years have been worn down through years of handling and spending. These well-worn pennies typically have little to no value beyond their face value of 1 cent. However, if you happen to find a 1957 penny that has been carefully stored and preserved over the decades, you could be looking at a valuable piece of history. But that's not all. There's a specific version of the 1957 penny that is even more desirable among collectors, and it's all about the mint mark. The mint mark, located on the reverse side of the coin, indicates where the penny was struck. The 1957 penny could have been minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. While the Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark, the Denver and San Francisco mint marks are more significant because they represent rarer versions of the coin. If you happen to find a 1957 penny with a San Francisco mint mark, you've got something special. These coins were produced in much smaller quantities than the ones struck in Philadelphia, making them much harder to come by. As a result, San Francisco minted 1957 pennies are worth more than their Philadelphia counterparts, especially when they're in great condition. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin. As you might already know, the better the condition of the coin, the more valuable it becomes. A 1957 penny that has been kept in uncirculated, near mint condition can be worth a significant amount more than one that's been worn down with age. Coins in pristine condition are rare, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar to get their hands on these well-preserved pieces of history. For the 1957 penny, especially with a rare mint mark, a coin in excellent condition can fetch a pretty penny, pun intended. But there's one more thing to consider when evaluating the value of the 1957 penny: minting errors. Every once in a while, the US Mint makes a mistake during the production process, and these errors can create a coin that is truly one of a kind. Whether it's a double die, a misstruck coin, or a coin with a unique flaw, minting errors can make a 1957 penny even more valuable. Error coins are highly sought after by collectors because they represent an anomaly in the minting process, and they can dramatically increase the value of the coin. So, what does this all mean for the value of a 1957 penny? Well, if you've got one of these rare pennies, whether it's in fantastic condition, has a rare mint mark, or features a minting error, you could be sitting on something worth a small fortune. The market for rare coins is always changing, but a 1957 penny in exceptional condition, particularly one with a rare mint mark or an error, can be worth an impressive amount. In fact, a well-preserved 1957 penny, especially if it has a rare mint mark or a unique error, has been known to fetch as much as $127,000 when sold to the right collector. That's right, $127,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that such a small coin can carry such a big price tag, but when it comes to rare coins, anything is possible. So, if you've got an old jar of coins lying around, or if you've inherited a collection from a family member, it might be worth your time to take a closer look at any 1957 pennies you have. You never know, one of them might be worth far more than just 1 cent. If you enjoyed learning about the value of the 1957 penny and want to keep discovering more rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest coin discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!